Hello and welcome back to the channel. So it's been honestly probably about a year since I've made one of these videos. And I kind of want to switch gears a little bit from Fistful of Toes to a game called Crossfire. I play Crossfire a little bit differently than the rules that are published. Being an infantry officer and having employed not these exact weapons, but weapons of the like, and kind of seeing how they're actually employed. I've got a different little spin on it. You can, take it or leave it if you'd like. But I just want to go through this game and just kind of go through how I play it and like why I enjoy it so much. So Crossfire is interesting because there's no turns. It's all just dependent on initiative. There's no measuring of distances. It's just assumed that everyone's in range. And what it does is it causes this really high speed game where it forces you to make decisions quickly and really just puts you in the seat of the commander, and it gets over pretty quick. So it's not this mundane, just constantly looking at a rule book, rolling the dice, and just spending your whole time reading a rule book. So with that, we'll get right into it. So in regular Crossfire, each of these little bases represents one squad of whatever unit you're using, right? Every unit has a platoon commander. So we have a platoon commander and 3 squads. We have a company here with 2 snipers of British paratroopers. I'm doing this a little bit differently. I'm separating out the Bren teams just because, as I stated, the rules, I want to play it just a little bit differently. So each squad is 2 bases versus 1. And I have the Germans pretty well set up the same way, where I have a light machine gun team with the actual rifle group, and then I have 2 heavy machine guns attached as such. We'll go into this a little bit greater detail later, but essentially what I want to do, why I have it separated out with the light machine guns from the squad, is because I want to actually use that weapon system as it would be used in a squad, where it's actually covering for the movement of the individual rifleman, as well as getting some of the more of effects. So I think the best way to teach this is just to get right into it. So with the German deployment, right, I have kind of a supporting effort over here on the side where I have a platoon leader with 1 squad, another squad kind of here in the tree line, and then another here behind this brick wall, kind of overlooking that area there, trying to interrupt anyone coming through. Over here I have a heavy machine gun, another heavy machine gun, kind of looking out of that open area there. Inside these 2 buildings, I have a squad with the platoon commander, a squad, and then a squad. So this is kind of my main effort here. And then I have another supporting effort here with the platoon commander over here on the side. For this scenario, just for the sake of simplicity, these Germans are just trying to defend this bridge here, this crossing, from any Allied movement across this. We'll just say this is like one of those deep streams that it's, I don't know, just really swampy where you can't really drive a tank through it without getting it stuck. Okay, for the British paratrooper deployment here, we have a platoon here, essentially in reserve. We have a platoon here with a couple snipers in the front in this tree line waiting behind this hill. Then we have another platoon here. We've pretty much decided that this is probably the most covered avenue of approach, and so they're gonna take it on this side. So an important thing in Crossfire is that I said there's no measuring. Everything is based off of moving from cover to cover to cover, and then attempting to essentially stay out of enemy fire long enough to where you're in an advantageous position to defeat them, really. This is another thing that I've kind of changed up for the sake of making it more realistic, but as I said, we'll get into those details as we're playing later. Okay, so getting into it here. So this is our view. We're just gonna say that these Germans can peek over this field here, but they probably can't see past that wall too much. However, these guys can see well into that open area over there with their machine guns, as well as this heavy machine gun. See if I can make that zoom. There we go. Right over there. So initiative starts with the attacker in this scenario. So in this case, this platoon commander up here has been given the lead. He is going to lead the charge with his platoon. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to move from terrain feature to terrain feature in this. So I got my platoon commander here. As per the rules, the British, they can order a squad to go anywhere so long as he's in eyesight of the platoon commander, but as soon as he's outside the eyesight of the platoon commander, he can't be moved again. He has to be within line of sight. So these guys are definitely within line of sight. So let's move these up here to the edge of the tree line. Nothing there. And so then we're going to do another group move up through here. And I'm pointing out to my opponents like, hey, I'm going to walk. I'm walking all the way up to here. And so we move up to this wall here. So now we're peeking over. And for the sake of this example, we're going to say that these paratroopers cannot see the Germans waiting on the other side of this wheat field. The Germans saw them creeping up, but they're not going to try to interrupt until they actually come over this wall, because then the Germans have a better chance of actually shooting them. So nothing happened with that squad. So the platoon commander is going to move up another squad here. And then he's going to move up his third squad up here. And the platoon commander is going to follow. So now we've got a whole platoon of paratroopers up here. And we still have these back here. And so I'll pause it while I move the rest of the company to kind of be up here to help support any push and attack up this way. Okay, so now we've got the whole rest of the company moved up here. As you'll notice that I've now moved everybody, and the initiative is still on me. The Germans have yet to take the initiative away from the British paratrooper company. So we're gonna keep moving up. So this platoon commander, he sees everyone here, and he gives them the go. Conditions are set with the rest of the company. He's gonna move up here. And right as he moves, we're gonna call this rifle squad. Right as these guys peep over the top and start hopping the fence, that's when the Germans here say, I'm gonna try to interrupt this. I'm gonna unmask, and we're gonna stop you in your place. So we've got this one squad here, and we have one squad, one light machine gun team, another squad, and another light machine gun team here in the trees. And we're gonna say all of them can see that squad that just hopped over the fence. Because I have this platoon commander here, he can coordinate what in the game is called a crossfire, wherein all of these units can shoot at the same time. So now, when these troops engage, a squad can roll 3 dice, and a machine gun can roll 4 dice. Again, in the other rules, it is only a dedicated heavy machine gun or medium machine gun team that can shoot 4. But for the sake of these rules, I'm switching it up to where we're using it like this, right? So each of these squads and each of the machine gun teams can fire at this squad over here. So how that works is I have to roll a 5 or a 6. If I roll 3, 5 and up, the squad's dead. If I roll 2, he's suppressed. And if I roll 1, that's just a pin. I have to get a suppress or a kill in order to take the initiative away from the British. So let's see what we get here. So with the first squad shooting, we got a suppress. Let's see how the light machine gun squad does. They only have a pin. So if I were to only get a pin, then I wouldn't be able to seize the initiative from the British. And now let's see what this squad gets. And that is another suppress. So because I got 2 suppress marks, that means this squad is killed. So as soon as they popped over that wall, they got sprayed with machine gun fire, and now they are gone. And because the Germans got a suppress, not only a suppress, but they killed a squad. The initiative now swings over to the German side, and they can begin to maneuver if they want on the British company. Okay, so if this was real life, I would have no idea where this company was actually maneuvering, but because I can clearly see where all the British are positioned, I'm now going to maneuver this squad to try to get a flank on that British company as it's attempting to move up and support that platoon that's along that wall. So I'm going to use my initiative. Now with the Germans, the rule is they do not need a platoon commander within eyesight or anything to be able to move. I think this is reflecting the just the initiative, probably a little bit better training of NCOs that the Germans had during World War II, I'm assuming. But that is the rule for the Germans, is they can continue to just move without their platoon commander. So they're moving up there, and again, I'm moving from terrain feature to terrain feature, and the whole time the British are looking to see if they can interrupt any of my moves. So I have this platoon here, and again, I've moved them. The British still can't interrupt me. And so now I'm going to attempt to bring this squad over here by this tree, which, looking there, there's enough tree line to really block any British line of sight to get me over there. So this platoon commander is going to continue to move troops here along this wall, here along this wall, just to attempt to get any kind of flanking fire on that company. Now there's multiple ways you can lose the initiative during this game. Either it is taken away from you from direct fire, either you fail a move, such as like you're trying to, do recon by fire and you fail in that, or what the Germans are going to do during this term is they're just going to cede over the initiative. They've seen at this point, they're on the defensive. They've already put the British in a bind. They've already put them in a disadvantageous position. And so now they want to essentially just let the British walk into the trap to force them to move. So at this point, this company commander is going to order this platoon to move up to this wall. Line of sight with these aren't good, but line of sight with this whole platoon here is excellent on these troops here. So what he's going to do now that he's moved up two of his squads here on this wall, is he's going to use the remainder of this platoon to attempt to attack these Germans and steal the initiative from them. Okay, so because we have a platoon commander located right here, we're going to use him to where he can conduct a crossfire onto these Germans. Now, because these Germans are in cover, or as I should say, concealment, fire is going to be a little less accurate. So what that does is it removes one dice from each of these units. So machine guns only fire 3 and squads only fire 2. So we're calling out all our hits before we're engaging here. We're going to conduct a platoon fire on this squad here. Concentrate all fire on that one squad. So we have 3 from our machine gun. He achieved a pin. The second machine gun team, they achieved a suppression. So that means that no matter what happens, we've retained the initiative here. The squad also achieved a suppression there. So that means that this squad of the Germans is now destroyed over here. Now the British have retained the initiative because they've achieved, once again, a suppression there. So now we still have the initiative. None of these troops missed. Let's say that this, for the sake of teaching the game, that this troop here didn't achieve any 5s or 6s. With that, all that means is that they cannot shoot for the remainder of this initiative. And for that, we've got little counters. Because I don't have the dice with me right now, I'm just going to put a little 1 next to them, just a reminder that they can't shoot again for this turn. So now for the platoon, we're going to once again engage this squad. First off with a 3, achieved a pin, a pin, a pin, not rolling very good, and then another pin. So a pin, what that does is it holds this squad in place to where they can still shoot back, but they now can't move. A suppression means the squad cannot shoot and they cannot move. And of course, a kill means the squad cannot, they're just gone. So in the regular game, the platoon commander here has to roll a whatever quality the troops are as part of their initiative. And if they succeed, the squad is no longer pinned or suppressed. How it really works is if you are suppressed, then you need to suppress the thing that's suppressing you in order to get out of that. And that usually calls for one of your buddies doing so. So in this scenario, let's say that this squad right here was the only one that achieved natural suppression on this squad here. So now that we've lost the initiative with all the pins, the initiative goes back to the Germans. However, these ones cannot move or shoot because they're suppressed. And it's because this squad right here is suppressing them. So as the platoon commander back here, he sees these troops are suppressing. So now that he has the initiative, he is going to try to engage and suppress this squad, which is going to remove the suppression off of this squad so that he can pull his platoon back to within the city, because he can now see that he's being overwhelmed by the company, and he also wants to pull them into a trap where this platoon can engage from the side. So he's going to engage with his light machine guns, rolling a 3, and they've achieved a pin with the second light machine gun team, because we cannot shoot with this squad, remember. They've achieved a suppression. And so this squad is now suppressed. I'm going to say that's a 3. All right. So this squad is now suppressed. Because of that, they have maintained the initiative. And now this squad is no longer suppressed. And at this point, the platoon commander opts to pull his platoon back behind cover here, which can't be interrupted because they've remained low and out of cover here. So they've withdrawn from their initial position. At this point, this squad is suppressed for the remainder of this initiative, and we can remove this because now the initiative is passed from the British, right? So I hope that's not too confusing. Once again, that's the difference in the main rules. It just makes more sense to me. If that doesn't make more sense to you, obviously just stick with the regular rules and have the platoon commander rally his troops so they're not suppressed anymore. Okay, I know this has been a relatively quick video going through all the things. I hope to make more of these just to make it a little bit simpler, and just because I need to start actually playing with the things that I've been building all this time. But I just really want to get into why I have the machine guns behave the way that they do. And this will really come with just really bad tactics on the side of who they're facing. But I really wanted to illustrate why you should not do this just as a infantry leader in general. So let's say that this platoon commander does not find any threats. He doesn't see any enemies. And so he starts to, of course, make bad decisions and tells his platoon they need to start moving up here in the open. With him kind of back here, right? So at this point, I'm going to say they're still kind of behind this tree. And so this heavy machine gun up here which we'll just say he's in cover. He wants to let this platoon commander make a little bit worse of a decision. So he brings them up further. And at this point, he's going to engage. Now, right off the bat, what this is right here is this is called enfilade fire. And so what I'm deciding with these rules is in the original rules, he just rolls a 4 and the lead squad dies, and if he hits the second one, then he hits them as well. But what we're gonna do is the first squad will receive the full brunt because that is a heavy machine gun, meaning it's on a tripod, and so the rounds are fairly accurate and on point going down range. The beaten zone is very small compared to a bipod mounted weapon. And so the first squad gets the full brunt of a 4-die rule. And with this, they've received 2, so that means they are suppressed. Now, because these other sections are in enfilade of this first, and we know that with how that trajectory is moving with the grazing fire, it is going to impact all of these troops back here. Every single troop of these has to roll 2 dice to see if they're suppressed as well. So the second one is nothing. Third one is also suppressed. The fourth one is pinned. Just put a 1 here. I'm going to move these. The fifth is pinned. And then the sixth one is also pinned. So what that means now is the Germans maintain the initiative, and I'm going to cut away for a minute and then report on the effects of what actually happened with this engagement. Okay, so unfortunately the die rolls on the second part of this weren't as good as the initial ones. However, we still have an entire platoon out here with 1 section suppressed, but everyone's pinned out here. So everyone can shoot back, but everyone's really stuck here in this muddy field out here in the open with another platoon that can still engage if they really wanted to on that flank. So I think that's about all I'm gonna go through here. Hope I didn't confuse anybody. Like I said, I want to do a little bit more with this scenario just to kind of run through some of the other rules. This is one that I just, like as I said, I just really enjoy playing because it's quick, easy to teach people. It requires a little bit more terrain just because that really sets the distance where your troops can move. But I think it's well worth it in the sense that it's just easy, rapid play, force you to actually make decisions. You're not diving into a rule book for the entire game. I just think it's an overall better mechanic and just a better time. Anyway, I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see you on the next one.